Drinking game alert, drinking game alert. We done said vibe too many times this episode. So if you grown and sexy, you at home, okay? You listening to us, you curled up with your favorite bottle of wine, make sure you take a sip. Every time we say anything referring to the vibe, okay? She has an issue with him not being handy. He had a little faux pas with the alcohol or whatever the case may be. He's obviously nervous.
The coffee maker, the espresso
He couldn't
machine?
use the espresso machine, which who does? We have an espresso machine upstairs. I don't use it at
I waited
all.
years to buy an espresso machine because I was intimidated by the ones that I would see in certain places. I have to work up to it.
What are we talking about? Hello, my loves. Welcome on into the channel. Thank you so much for joining us again. I'm your girl, Intisar Eleanor. I'm joined always by my beautiful husband, Joseph Conner.
Hey.
And you are on the Mimi Tapping Conner's couch. Come on in, honey. The door is unlocked. Take your shoes off. Come downstairs so we can chit-chat about all things Married at First Sight Season 20. Episodes 4 through 6. But before we get into that, Joe, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling a bit drained today. The weekend is catching up to me, and I can feel it now.
I'm sorry. I felt drained yesterday, and now I gave it to Joe, so I apologize. We'll try to make this quick, Daddy.
No, it wasn't. It's the Monday effect, you know.
Oh, you got a case of the Mondays.
I don't know if it's the case
Or is it a
of the
case of the
Mondays.
Tuesdays?
I don't even know how to put it. Like, you know how sometimes you like, you know how you're running a race and you're running off adrenaline,
Yes.
and then you sit down and then the race show up on your body. It's like that.
LeBron James was just accepted, I guess, trade
No,
terms.
he signed. He picked.
He signed
He's coming
with
to the crib.
the Philadelphia 76ers. We could not be more excited. It happened and somebody DM'd us. And I was like, let me look this up to make sure this is accurate. And then I sent it to Joe and I'm like, this man is going to act a fool. Like, can you believe it?
That's also why I'm tired, because it completely ruined my sleep on, what was that, Saturday morning or whatever it was. My phone started like exploding in the morning, and I was tired. I was half asleep, so I like was ignoring it, but like I could still like hear the phone like going off. So it was waking me up, and I like kind of put one eye on it, and then I didn't like see nothing. Like, you know how you could see the notifications pop up? The one that was at the top was like an ESPN notification. So I'm like, I don't need to wake up for whatever this is. Zar had texted me. I like fall back asleep a little bit. And then my sister comes in the room like, get up. I'm like, bro, I'm trying to. I had a super long day that day too. So I was like trying to conserve it. You know what I mean?
Well,
It was worth it though.
it's worth it. Super exciting times. I actually cannot believe it. But then again, honestly, Joe, I actually can. I think people love playing for Philadelphia.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's not even up for debate. Everybody who's played there who wasn't a complete shit show loves being there.
And I think it's like we have a real vibe. We're a real sports town.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, Joe is a wherever he at fan. Not,
100%.
not a Heat fan, but wherever he at. Shout out to Shannon Sharp. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like he's really going to enjoy these next 2 years in Philadelphia. I think he's really going to enjoy it.
He is, because it's the best. I mean, it's the best sport. I mean, I'm obviously biased.
But I think we've been to other cities.
Yeah.
Like, I've been to Dallas,
Yeah,
and
like,
but I mean, like, the energy that a Philly game, it's different. It's different. So that's exciting times. We went to the farmer's market this weekend, loved it. And also felt like in Summerlin, it needs a little bit of variety. If you're in Vegas and you go to the Summerlin farmer's market, don't you think it need a little something? Is it me?
I think it does.
It's a little bit repetitive.
Yeah.
And I don't really love that. But yeah, other than that, I'm in the midst of a sprint and everything is fucked. But, you know, They know and I know. So I guess that's the best I got. All right. So yeah, let's dig on into Married at First Sight season 20. How are you guys feeling about these next episodes? That 4 through 6 was kind of good to me. I really like how we're getting to understand people a little bit more because their first impressions, I felt like for everybody was really good.
Courtney and yeah,
And the other MAGA man, I don't even have their name written down here. I literally wrote MAGA. That's how I'm describing them from this point forward. MAGA. That I'm referring to is Courtney and Nick. MAGA. Okay, I didn't even write their names down in my notes. One thing that I thought was a big theme these 3 episodes was that everybody is so concerned with how everyone else is doing.
yeah, and I don't like that.
I don't love that. And I kind of wish, and this is a testament to how expensive it is to produce anything in America, because on the UK version, they send them on separate vacations.
And they should.
I mean, honeymoons.
They should. I just think it's too early to be co-mingling like this. People are not yet locked in. And the OG kind of couch people, I understand. I'm repeating myself. Like, people it's way too early to have people who are on shaky ground with their relationship co-mingling with other couples, especially couples who they feel it's not out of the bounds for them to feel like, oh, maybe I could have been compared up with this person.
Yes.
Or maybe, oh, look at that person. I wish they would have put me with her.
And that's really why you want to see him.
Yeah, and I think that Pastor Kyle said something I shouldn't say offline. It was online. It just was off of Married at First Sight. He said something and when people responding to the question of like, why are you not on the show anymore? And I feel like he gave us a little window into this when he said, I feel like there was some creative differences. He said it in so many words. I don't even think he used the word creative, but like there was some like disagreements in the direction of the show. And it made me feel like I should pay attention to operations like this, where they are doing things like this and possibly against the will of somebody who's focused on keeping the integrity of the premise of the show intact. Because this feels like a drama move to me, where they're like around each other so soon, so much, so often. It feels like when I say I'm against it, it's from a place of protecting the relationships.
Yeah.
It is not an entertainment value take. That has nothing to do with rating.
Right. It's more so for them to incubate.
Yes. And I don't know that that's the focus. And I feel like Pastor Kyle might have been alluding to that.
Which is weird because I feel like Paul, our new expert, was on the season for UK. He was the UK expert that they brought over. And I feel like it's fascinating that they are incorporating some aspects of that, but not, the major one. I think of being Married at First Sight as having a premature baby.
Right.
You can't just bring this baby home.
No.
Which is why I like they skipped the meeting of the families the day after the wedding. Loved that. Yeah. I think that's really important because allow them the opportunity to incubate a little bit.
But I think you talk about Married at First Sight. I think that should be the premise for any new relationship. It's the reason why you shouldn't go meet Tom, Dick, or Harry at the bar and then immediately introduce him to your family.
Oh, I agree. Or idea. Friends. I don't feel like we got to introduce our friends immediately. I think that, what do you guys think about that? If you're here and you're watching, make sure you bust down, like, subscribe, comment. I want to know, are you introducing your, date, situationship, whomever, to your friends? How soon are you doing it? Are you introducing them to your family? What's the timeline there?
I think it's a terrible idea to do it, especially in the beginning stages, especially introducing them to people who you really care about and you really value their opinion. and you are easily swayed by this opinion, and which is
And a
ironic.
lot of people are easily swayed.
Oh, tons of people are. Tons of people are.
This is such a new thing. I feel like
a conversation, a very deep conversation, was this past weekend about this same subject. This person was thanking me for steering them away from other people's opinions. I couldn't drive the point home more that you have to protect not only your relationship but your decision making. Too often it's left up to being swayed by people who you love in your inner circle. And these people do not have to do life with your person. But especially when it's early, it make you little stuff that you have no problem with. You thinking, damn, do I got a problem with that? Damn, well, she do work a lot. Do that mean she not gonna be around? Should I be like, you know what I mean? Stuff that you just don't like. You need to trust yourself. So I just think that like any relationship that's very early on should be protected like an infant, especially when you're a part of a process where you're matched up with other people and you don't even really know this person.
And you don't know these other people.
Like,
I think sometimes because the girls meet a day or so before everybody else, it's like this,
faux like
connection or something or loyalty. But truth be told, you don't know none of these mother jumpers.
You don't, and you're not friends, you're not sisters, you're not none of that.
Well, let's talk about Michelle and Cameron. Let's dig on in. Cameron is a serial non-monogamous. What would you guys call that? He doesn't give me that he's an F boy, but he is serious. He is serially unserious is what I get from him.
And to me, that's a form of F boyness.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
I just like him.
I think we reserve it to an aesthetic. Oh, he got tats and he looked like he ride motorcycles.
Oh my God, I think you're right.
But y'all are too caught up in the aesthetic. Like, no, somebody who's just perpetually unserious about commitment is an F boy. Period.
I do think he's a little bit too old to not have had. So what is he? 38? 37, 38?
A real relationship? Absolutely.
I think by this time you should have told someone you loved them or you had deep feelings from them. I don't know that you needed to be married by this time, but that would be nice. You know what I mean? They always better the second time around. But
I'm just saying a serious committed relationship, right? Like everybody doesn't, the bounds of how your relationship grows sometimes is like not something that you can control, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you just haven't met the right person, so you haven't fallen in love. Maybe you kept meeting insidious people. You was in an abusive relationship.
Or you traveled a lot.
Right? But I do think that the aspect of just simply committing to someone, anybody can do.
I don't understand why it's such a major thing nowadays. People will literally push out a human for someone.
Oh my God.
And then want to litigate. I don't want to get there. So I'm not gonna do that. But y'all know what I'm saying. Cameron doesn't even live in Seattle. He lives in Portland. I did my Googles.
Yeah.
It's about 3 hours away. Okay. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's a big deal. Imploring people to commit their future to you and allow you to take the wheel in such a serious type of thing, such as marriage, is major. You also have to protect them in this process and be transparent about what you're getting them into. This long distance is a very big deal.
It's a very big deal.
And it's a thing that not a lot of people are open to. Not a lot of people can deal with. Not a lot of people want to deal with. Not a lot of people can handle it. And so for you to they're already entrusting you to marry them to another person blindly. For you to like then do it with somebody who doesn't even live where they live is a whole nother wrinkle that I don't think is fair.
I absolutely understand where you're coming from, right? But if I'm a matchmaker and I'm looking for somebody that I think you would be compatible with, I'm not going to limit it to that area.
Which is fine, but when we watch shows like Indian Matchmaker, they know that going into the process.
Okay.
this all I'm saying is
Okay,
this has
that's a
to
good
be
point.
transparent. Like they know they could potentially be matched with somebody who
That's very
lives in
true.
Australia.
And
or
that's why I
whatever.
said that. Like, I feel like
This is not the history
that's
of
true.
this show. So for y'all to everybody knows part of the marketing preemptive marketing of every season is what city they gonna be in.
That's very true.
They're in New York. So
They're in
now
Charlotte next,
you're-
y'all.
which is gonna be awesome.
I know, lots
So
of
now
blacks.
when you're signing up with the thought process that I'm gonna be matched with somebody in Charlotte. So I just think it's just not fair. Do it, like break down the walls if you want to and say we pulling motherfuckers from everywhere, but then allow them to have to, because also you don't want the possibility of somebody coming in who is now going to be checked out because their person is long distance. Now you're fucking the person who lives outside of whatever. You're playing in people's faces that way. You know what I mean?
wonder if that's a part of the conversations that they have, and I'm going to reach out to somebody and ask. I
'Cause
know,
I
I know
don't-
just who to ask,
Yeah, I don't
because
believe
I'm
they had
curious
good
to know. I mean, at the beginning of this process, like you may be matched with somebody who is within the tri-state area. You know what I mean? Like if you live in Philly, you get matched with somebody in Delaware or New Jersey. That's not far-fetched. You know what I mean? 3 hours is a very long time. So I'm not going to, in the spectrum of dating,
Yeah.
but in the spectrum of marriage and meeting and matchmaking someone, I would be matchmaking people who live anywhere. You know what I mean? Because I don't think that you are relegated to this area, number one. And number two, sometimes the demographics in that area aren't in your favor. You know what I mean? I don't think certain people thrive in certain environments, and their whatever their aesthetic is might thrive a little bit better for somebody in the South, or you know what I mean? That's my thought process. So I understood it.
No, I agree with that, and I understand it. I just
Yeah.
think you have to be transparent about it.
But you do have to
I
be
just think
transparent
it's not
about
fair
that.
to just do and not tell people
Yeah.
these are big life decisions, and I'm just not confident that they're going back to what Pastor Kyle said. I'm just not confident that like these are things that really matter to them.
What do you mean?
I think
Oh,
the
whether or not
transition to Peacock has been one where they are much more led by the entertainment factor, and I'll just say that.
How do you feel? I feel like watching Cameron and Michelle. I actually really like this couple together. One thing that I like is that they have very deep conversation. One thing that I don't like is that they have very deep conversation. And that's because sometimes we forget, in the midst of us trying to be so cerebral and so intellectually and mentally close to people, we forget about all the fun ways we could be close.
I think that's a fact, not an opinion. I think Sean and Nikki also suffer from this. I believe that especially when you're in the beginning, it's imperative. You could throw a rock and hit somebody who's going to tell you, well, you need to be asking about this, especially at big ages. Ask them about this and what's his credit score, right? We get it. There's some things that you should have to cover, right? But it's also equally imperative that you guys have very light conversation and get to know each other.
Yes.
It's imperative that you be talking about very small, minuscule things like what is your favorite color? And what did you like to do when you were in high school for fun? And what was your city like? Like you have to, because these little conversations and these moments build so much foundation of your relationship.
And a lot of people don't get that.
A lot of people don't get that. Zar made a good point when we were talking about this. I think we were on air. I can't remember. When we were talking about this, talking about dating in this era versus when we dated, right? Now, the caveat is we obviously started dating in high school, but it's really not that far-fetched of an analogy because we were able to build a foundation because everything wasn't heavy. Now, granted, like I said, you're in high school, so there's not a lot of heavy stuff, but that added to the foundation where we could just talk about whatever all night long, sit on the phone, not talk about nothing, talk about a little bit of something. And I think that like you at big ages, we miss out on so much of that, trying to like get to, it's going to be a house, 4 bedrooms, 2-car garage, 3 kids. It's like Too much too soon.
But don't you think, I think it's an era thing, and you guys let me know. I think that nowadays people are so serious about every fucking thing.
It's too serious.
Because I think I would argue, and I had very real standards about who I was going to choose. I was very, very rigid about who I chose to date. And you did have to have certain things. However, that wasn't conversations that I would have with them. I would just go out with them, feel the vibe, and if it felt like it aligned with where I was, we would continue to go out. And if it didn't, then we just wouldn't go out.
And the difference is how a lot of y'all are treating that, and a lot of people on these shows are treating it is the part of feeling the vibe. Y'all are not feeling the vibe. Y'all are going out, but y'all are interviewing people. Y'all are, hard selling people.
I have, I don't even know if I want to share this with you guys because it's such in the infancy stages of what I'm trying to, maybe you guys can give me some feedback. I want to do speed datings, right? But I don't want anybody to talk about what they do for a living, how much money they make. I want them to stick strictly to fun, like conversation or kids or anything like that. I just want us to get to know one another outside of those things, like strip everything back. But it's really important specifically for women. And I think it'll soften the men in a way that we haven't seen in a long while to not even talk about it.
And you know why? Because I could already feel some of y'all, I need to know. You know what I mean? I don't want to waste my time.
But I would know. I would know as the matchmaker.
But not even that. Not even that. I want to peel back the onion on that because I think what's not touched on enough is for the right person, you will change your mind about anything.
But say a lot for the people in the back. Because y'all like to pretend and sit up in my face and play like I don't know.
You'll change your mind about anything. So that's why I think that getting to know the person, respecting the vibe, seeing where the connection is genuinely is going to overshadow all of these big things. Like, well, I want 6 kids and he only want 2. Like, you have to get to know the person because with more information, your opinion will change.
Period. With more experience.
Yeah.
The more you experience someone, the more your opinions change. Right. But we get it. Y'all got all the answers, Sway. Cameron frightens me because he says things like he's afraid of being trapped, and the conversations that he's had with Michelle makes him feel trapped. He also made mention of he said he was worried about feeling trapped and that he really does have issues, with commitment because sometimes they make him feel like there's no way out for him. She does make mention of her eggs being frozen and her fibroid issues and fibroid surgeries. And you can just see on his face the flight, like, I have to get out of here. Yeah. What are your thoughts about that?
I think it's a red flag, and this is what I'm talking about. Like, are y'all having a conversation with these people before y'all cast them on a show called Married at First Sight?
Which she asked, shout out to, this is why listening is so important when you listen to a man. Because that man sat up in her face and told her he got so many commitment issues, whoop-de, whoop-de, whoop. And Michelle sat there and said, and what made you with
sign up for this show?
You ate with that baby.
Why? But why? Why are we casting people like this? Why?
But
because we're gonna change their mind. Like, we don't need to.
And he's handsome. I don't know. Something about him I like. I don't know.
It's negligent to me. You know what I mean? This is the commitment show.
Yeah, and right? It is negligent.
And you should be coming in. You made a point about one thing that everyone should have in common when they get to this show. And the first thing is you should know your partner's committed.
That's a fact. At the very end of the day, that's all you need to know.
That should be a throwaway line. Like, you shouldn't have to second guess or think about that at all. Now, this poor girl on a show called Married at First Sight now has to question whether or not her partner is committed.
Yeah. Yeah. True. But what I did like is that I feel like he's trying to push himself out of his comfort zone. He says that he really likes her and her optimism. Like, it's infectious. And because he likes her, all of these conversations may be scary to him, but because she is not scary to him and he likes being around her, he can be committed to this process. He goes on to say, or she goes on to say, commitment is a choice and not necessarily a sacrifice. And I think that is such important words. Everyone needs to hear. That's why I wrote them down, because oftentimes, do y'all feel like y'all talk to people, or do you feel like you talk to people and they talk about being married, being in a relationship, like it's this burden?
Yes.
It's so like you have to lose some part of yourself. It's when you guys sit up in my face and say, "Oh, I can't be around him all the time. I can't do this all the time." Like you in your brain thinking you're sacrificing a piece of yourself in order to be in partnership with someone else, and that makes me sad.
First of all, we have to talk about this running theme of y'all really not wanting to be in relationships, but just wanting to know that you have the option. You people out here, and we've seen it on multiple shows, and it's rearing its ugly head here again, who just want a spouse, just want somebody with the title, but the first thing you say to them is how much alone time you need, how you're strong and independent, how you don't need to be around your partner, how your partner got to have a hobby because he need to have his own friends, and y'all need to have your own, and y'all damn near need to have your own apartments. Like, we have to break down what's going on mentally with some of you people, because this is like an illness. It's like not okay.
Well, what a great segue, Joe. Let's dig on into Devin and Caitlyn. Caitlyn is the problem.
Full stop.
And when we talk about why did you sign up for Married at First Sight, if you weren't of the understanding that a part of this would require you to get to know someone else in
do life with them,
but it requires you to get to know them in a rigorous process.
Yes,
it's rigorous. It's truncated. It's expedited. What in your brain?
What make you sign up for this show? This is another question. Similar to Cameron. Why cast somebody who the minute they get home is like, I need to leave because I need to, like, before they even get home, she's dutching him on the honeymoon, dishing him on the honeymoon.
She says that she wants to go to the gym, tells him that she's going to set an alarm for 8 and she's going to wake him up. She says she's going to wake him up. That's very important to say. She gets up, the alarm goes off, she gets up, and she gets dressed and leaves. He pokes his head up like, is she going to say anything to me? She sees him poke his head up and then don't say nothing, and she leaves. I understand when people the process is overwhelming, and that's not lost on me. You know what I mean? I understand it's an overwhelming process.
On you either, because you know every part about it when you sign up to do it.
But why is it so hard to communicate that I'm overwhelmed? Because the problem is that you all will alter somebody else's brain chemistry, how they do things, how they see themselves, and everything like that, when really you're the fucking problem.
Yes.
What he's doing is what he should be doing. He's not attached. He's married to a woman. He wants to understand how to be with her. So he's just doing what he was doing before. But instead of you saying, I'm a bit overwhelmed, I need a moment, it's like these little digs. It's like these, I'm just going to ignore you. Don't talk to me. That's weird to me.
But what's so disgusting to me is this piss poor attempt to make the other person the problem.
Oh, they want him to be the problem bad, but he's not.
But it's not just a Caitlyn thing. This is like a cultural thing that y'all doing. Y'all meet somebody who want to spend time with y'all and then make them the problem. And then we start throwing around things like, oh, they love bombing me. They're clingy. I'm a strong independent. You know what I mean?
I've never heard of love bombing until No Bullshit 2019.
Oh, no. Full stop.
Maybe 2021. No, it might have been 2021. I've never, ever even heard of love bombing.
I think that it's really disgusting to see people who just want genuine connection be made to feel crazy because they express to their person that they just want to be in their presence.
But when you're a member of Baddies East, right? Like I am, y'all might be Baddies North, West, South, whatever, but I'm a member of Baddies East. How else would a man make his presence known in my life when I'm dating if he wasn't making his presence known in my life? He would just fall by the wayside. You had back when you are a dater, and maybe that's the thing, right? A lot of y'all don't date because when you date, and you're with a man who knows that you're a woman of the world, you're dating, they make sure that you know that they want your attention. And that may be in ways, all types of wonderful ways. You know what I mean? And it's like, why is it that when we're interacting, how come men don't talk about love bombing?
Never. I never heard a bull say.
How about that? How come men never talk about it?
Me, so I had to let her go.
Women love bomb.
What?
Women do that. Why is it different? You know what I mean? And I think
y'all
there's
standards, if a woman is not, or it was not love bombing me, me and her would have never made it past week 2. This is by y'all standards.
You couldn't be in my presence and not be loved by. You would have to be. But you would be forgotten.
And I just think that the truth is that you are really not interested in doing real relationship. Y'all want a lot of things, but y'all are a lot of times you're mischaracterizing what you're actually looking for. And my issue with it is when you're making the other person a problem. Caitlyn is going to do it. We've seen it. Courtney is going to do it. I had a conversation recently with somebody who was doing it to them, and I had to unravel that in their mind. Like, they had a conversation with me about quality time and how somebody who they were with made them believe that wanting quality time was them being extra.
And this is a man.
Yeah, it's mostly men right now.
This is a man.
This is not even.
I think that's important to know.
This is not something that I'm seeing amongst anybody else but men. If I'm being completely honest, the conversations that I've had about this particular subject, the people who are doing the gaslighting have all been women. All been like, well, I don't want you to be too close. I'm a strong black woman. I'm independent.
Well,
I'm just used to doing things on my own. Whoop. You need to have your own space. You need to blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm seeing it, and this was a conversation where I had to tell him, like, listen, you want to be around your woman is not an issue. You wanting to spend quality time is not an issue. This is this new thing it's become this weird trope where now it's normalized, and then they get around each other, the blind leading the blind, Caitlyn and Courtney, and they affirm the silly ass piss poor behavior.
In truth be told, we have to stop telling people we used to doing it alone. I know, bitch, you are alone.
You are alone.
You didn't need to affirm that for me. We have to start speaking. The way you speak about things is so important. That vibrates through you, through someone else, is transferred. We have to start speaking about things in terms of partnership. Right now, I handle things because that's where I am right now. But the ultimate goal is to be sharing my life with someone. And then sharing my life, I'm sharing the good, bad, and the ugly. We're sharing all the things. You know what I mean? And a lot of times we don't use share, partnership enough in conversation, specifically with men, because men will hear that and won't help you with a motherfucking thing.
Yeah.
You said you got it. What you want me to do?
Right.
Now you're mad at me because you want me to do something. And you got to learn to shut the hell up. The problem is you're talking too much and not listening enough. Caitlyn, she tells this man, it's the black cat golden retriever thing. This is like, not Joe rolling his eyes.
Stupid. Like, this is so stupid.
It is stupid, but I wanna, okay. And what that is speaking to is that one partner is more reserved and independent, while the other is warm, bubbly, and eager to please. And that's, I think, a problem here too. Like, that's that TikTok bullshit.
Yep.
The only way your relationship is going to thrive is that if you're both a golden retriever. I got to know you're going to take care of me and you're eager to please me because I'm eager to please you. And that's just the only way. And I know that we're in this like Dua Lipa, you know what I mean, man eater realm. I get it. But truth be told, if we're talking about success and partnership, you want to be a golden retriever too, ho?
And honestly, if we talking about success and
or both black cats.
If we talking about success and partnership, I don't believe that you can have success in a relationship without partnership. I don't believe it. And if I'm being honest, I've never seen it.
The moment we decided we were going to be far more transparent about everything, like we had a time where He had his things, I had my things.
Like y'all do.
Like we went through that, you know what I mean? But when I tell you,
Which is how we know it don't work.
which
This
is
a terrible
how
idea. It's terrible. You're bound to drizzle. Y'all so independent. Y'all so separate. He got his shit. I got my shit. I do my thing. It's terrible.
so Joe and I have been back together. We've loved each other for 20 years. We've been back together 9. Okay? 9? 8 or 9?
Child, it's all blurred. I mean,
8 or 9, right? I would argue that the first, we've been married 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, damn. So it's probably 9. Okay. So then the first 4 years, we were not transparent. 4 years. We were just operating in silos. We were just two people who were in a space together, in relationship, but not in partnership with one another.
Right.
Would you agree with that?
and that's exactly how y'all do.
When I tell you, we just sat down and just did a deep dive about every single, who is this? What are they doing? Why are they in your life? How much is this costing us? What are we doing about this? It completely changed how we move in the world.
And the issue is that some of y'all think y'all don't even, your partner's not even due the respect of transparency. A lot of y'all are just like, why? I don't need to ask you for nothing. I don't
Well,
need
why
to
do I
tell
have
you.
to tell you I need time?
There was a whole conversation, I think it was last season, where somebody was like, I should be able to go over my friend's house of the opposite sex and not even tell you.
That was
Are you fucking?
that was the ultimatum.
I know you're
Stupid.
lying.
I
Are you
know you're
serious?
lying. And you know what? That was his moment when he said, "Oh, these bitches
yeah,
out here
yeah,
slow.
yeah.
They slow. Let me go back here and propose to my woman." Stop
But then
playing.
y'all would do this and cloak it in like empowerment.
Yes.
Oh, wow, this is I can't lose a piece of myself. I lose a piece of myself if I let you know, if I check in with you. Are y'all fucking dumb?
And
Are
I think
y'all okay?
I think it's more that you should be gaining. And I think that the way and the language that Caitlin uses is simply because we also have to check how people were raised and who they were raised by. Your parents can be together and not have a good relationship.
Oh yeah, for years.
And I would bet a dime to a dollar her parents are in relationship with one another. They are not in partnership with one another. I would argue that they don't date. I would argue that they don't do anything together. They don't go out together. They don't show affection in front of their kids, because I feel like the more you see that, the more you become that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the more you long for that, like you see your mom being touched and held and kissed and whatever the case may be, you may want it more. You know what I mean? Or think that that's a standard by which people should operate. So part of me, this independent feeling, is that you saw your mother be independent. She's in a space where she's making decisions and doing things on her own.
Mm-hmm.
Or she had to lean on your father in a way that you felt was unsavory in some way. So now you want to be the complete opposite of her.
That, and to add on to that, you grew up in a cold house, which just sounds like Caitlin.
That's what I'm saying.
And then now you want to make your home a cold house.
Right, because you think that's normal.
Because you think it's normal. And Devin is like, the fuck is going on here?
Mind you, Devin is raised by a single mother who obviously has spoken to him about things, spoken into him about things. His ability to, one, want to handle conflict, but not be, what's the word I want to use? Combative? Love.
But not only that, he's here because he wants relationship and he wants to be with his partner. He could be alone. I don't know. I don't know why we sign up to be put in a 500 square foot apartment.
First of all, that was a bar.
I just don't understand.
You
because
can be
this
alone.
I don't get it, Caitlin and Courtney and so many other people out here that are like them. If I'm signing up to be married at first sight, a lot of these people, when they sit down on these couches dating back to season 1 and they ask them, why are you here? They say, because I'm tired of being alone. I would bet that if I had the analytics to show how many people, when they ask them that question when they're casting, I would bet that it was over 90% that say, I'm here because I'm tired of being alone. You hear the same thing. Well, I've done it in my professional life. My parents have it. My sister has it. And I'm tired of being alone, right? I want to share my life with somebody. We hear that all the time, right? Devin is no different. He's another guy who's on this show because he doesn't want to be alone. And then he gets put in this honeymoon with this person who just can't wait to be alone.
You're on your honeymoon.
What are we doing?
But coupled with the fact you're on your honeymoon, there's very few places.
Right.
You're going to go back to the real world and you'll have other lives.
Right. So
you're actually on your honeymoon.
And we don't have to sit down on the honeymoon and make sure, Caitlin, that when we get back to the real world, this person is not going to be in the house. You don't want to hear that on your honeymoon either.
This heifer had the unmitigated goal to check in with him because apparently he's in his off season. He's a professional athlete. He's in his off season. She asked him, so what you going to do around the house? Wait for me to get home?
Just be.
Are you out your rabbit ass mind? But what it does is it's an incessant, which I don't. Okay, so I'm of two minds. The man eater in me loves to make men feel small, but there is a part of me that is so divinely feminine. I get nothing from it. Does that make sense? And I want men to thrive in a space with women and be comfortable and feel it's very. I'm going through something in my brain, obviously, but really there's something where I feel like, no, like women should feel, what would be the problem if he said, yeah, I'm just gonna wait for your motherfucking ass to get home? What's the big deal? I don't get it. I don't get it. Even though that's not what he's doing.
It's not at all. But if you're so anti cohabitation, this was never the show for you.
You're anti. The problem is having no self-esteem shows up in so many ways. And some of y'all will call it, you just want to be alone. You want to be alone because you know you're insufferable, and being around somebody else would allow them to judge who you actually are. And that's real tea. And that's what we're seeing here. Because she said she had a relationship and the guy didn't care what she did and she loved it. Then why aren't you with that person?
Right.
Because he didn't give a fuck what you did, dummy.
Yeah.
Are you dumb?
Yeah. It's like the wild thing of wanting to repeat methods that didn't get y'all nowhere. But like so many people want to do it.
But that's because this generation of people are, think about when we go get a coffee and we will say to their face what it is. We'll repeat it several times and they'll still make it the way that they want to make it.
Yeah.
It's largely because nothing about how they were brought up education-wise requires them to ask further questions.
Yeah.
It requires them to be curious. It requires them to gain further understanding. They have all the answers, Sway.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why it's a bunch of dummies. Like, you know
that's why it's a bunch of lonelies.
Yes.
And a bunch of, when I don't know if y'all remember, a few of y'all that was with us when I made that stat about the poll about the single men who said that they wanted to be in a relationship, but they were not interested in getting back into the dating pool because they felt like it was just a whole bunch of unseriousness happening, right? This is it. I'm sure a bunch of those men was with somebody who was like, I kind of want my own time and my own space, my own this, my own that. And they were just like, okay, well then I'll just be by myself. Like, why am I chasing a bunch of people who don't want to actually do life with me, who make me the problem when I say I would like us to spend more time together?
Now make that make sense.
What are we talking about? It's really sad. And I just would wish that you people would just go off by yourself an island and just be by yourself, because my issue is you're wasting time for people who just want companionship.
That's a fact.
They are not the problem. The person who is just trying to spend time with their girlfriend, their wife, and vice versa, they are not the problem. The problem isn't that they long to be in the presence of a person who they are dating and in many cases dating for marriage.
Y'all don't even know how to like people. You don't like yourselves. And that's what we're seeing with Caitlin and Devin. The idea that you could tell a person, I don't want you to cater to me. I don't want to feel smothered. You have known this person 7 days. And this is what I took issue with Dr. Lisa Paz with. At the very least, she could have told her, at 7 days in, I can understand not wanting physical touch or anything like that. But you should not be in a space at 7 days where we're trying to alter what he's doing at all. You have to see where he's going with it. You don't know him.
Right.
You have no barometer for where this could go.
Right.
So sometimes you just got to allow it to play out.
Right.
She's getting ready. He says, like he should, men, everybody take notes. Do you want me to make you a drink? Should I put on music? Like, what am I supposed to do while you're getting ready? He want to get to know you. Is this not what we want from the men in our lives?
I really don't know what the fuck y'all want at this point.
She wants a woman.
I don't know. I don't know what y'all want, because then y'all would say that they got to make a certain this, they got to be a certain, for what? What? The same people like Caitlyn who exist in the world will also have all of these lists and demands, right?
Right.
And then get in a place with this person and then be like, but I don't want you to be home while I'm home. I don't want you to necessarily hold my hand or sit close to me on the couch or anything like that. Like the one guy, like I would love to like, just like, can we just watch movies together? Why is that like, why is that like a complicated statement? I don't understand why it's controversial. Like, oh, well, I mean, you're going to get up and go to work though, right? What's happening?
But why do you feel like you have to emasculate him
Right.
in the process? That's the problem I'm having.
And that's
it's
what I'm
not
saying.
that you.
That's what I'm saying outside of this show. Like, it's like these men feel emasculated by the fact that they want companionship. They want to be close,
Like they make them soft or something like that.
but and also inadequate, because specifically some individuals that I've spoken to, it's been
Inadequate.
it's been projected to them that them wanting to be in the space and spend this quality time is also somehow taken away from their productivity in life.
Caitlyn does make it a point to say that her and her dad butts heads.
We know.
You didn't have to tell me. The fact that you just walked down the aisle by yourself, because if he would have told me no, I'd have just told my mama, come on, me and you walk down the aisle. But the fact that didn't happen said a lot to me. Mm-hmm. And it also is saying a lot about how you navigate these relationships. And really who y'all need is Dr. Lorna from Couples Therapy. I don't know who this Lisa Paz woman is. She's not doing it. She's not doing it.
I knew that. I said that early on.
She's not doing it.
I said that very early on, that Paul Brunson's back is finna hurt from carrying.
He's carrying. And she's not.
Cause what was that?
And
she's literally on a show called Married at First Sight talking about how she can't wait to get away from this mug. And Dr. Paz is like, oh, okay, well, give her some space. Like, what? What? They just met.
But how much is too much? Space for when? Space to when? Until he find himself in between spaces with another woman?
But then I was about to say it. Like, y'all push people away and push people away and push people away.
And then tell us it's no reason why somebody should cheat on you.
Come on, bro.
Let's dig on into MAGA. I think that she thought she was going to get like this lumberjack of a man, and who is like MAGA for real. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And he's not really giving that energy. I'm actually surprised.
No, he's not. I'm not surprised. I didn't get that from him in the first impression.
No, I'm surprised he's MAGA. I'm more surprised he's MAGA than I am.
I think there, like you said, there's a spectrum, right? She wanted the lumberjack, the other end of it, right? There's also this like, I am resigned. I subscribe to the culture, but it's more of a lack of culture, a lack of they might be wayward in the world.
Y'all, her favorite food is Mexican food.
But that's typical, no?
I find that to be, and I know we're not.
The irony of all of that is very typical within her speech.
And I'm remaining objective. Shout out to you who corrected me. I love you, boo. Very good producers, by the way, on the last episode. I'm trying to remain that way, but it's like, girl.
The irony is completely lost on them. Because I'm sure there's people still that are like, okay, she like Mexican food.
No, literally.
Including her. But what's really the issue for me here is that you are such an empty vessel that you got married at first sight to this person and you don't have nothing to say to them, no questions to ask them. Why are y'all constantly sitting in silence? Because you're dense?
You don't have nothing to talk about? She has an issue with him not being handy. He had a little faux pas with the alcohol or whatever the case may be. He's obviously nervous.
The coffee maker, the espresso
He couldn't
machine.
use the espresso machine. He didn't know how to do that, which who does? We have an espresso machine upstairs. I don't use it
I
at
waited
all.
years to buy an espresso machine because I was intimidated by the ones that I would see in certain places. I have to work up to it.
What are we talking about? Like, what are we actually talking about? So she in that begins to emasculate him. She speaks about Dos Mega to everybody who will listen.
Yes, she does.
Okay? Anybody who'll listen, she want to tell them she don't like them. But then, ironically, the most liberal person we know right now in the cast, Felipe, is the one she like talking to. But you said absolutely no. Liberals.
It makes sense. It's fitting. The irony is fitting. You know what I mean? It's a lot of like, head and ass, like a lot of contradictory feelings and positions. This is just.
He should have just pushed me in the pool.
Like what?
Let's have fun. He should have just pushed me in the pool. Don't ever in your life think you're gonna push me in the motherfucker.
But now we're in a space where you are now trying to dictate how this person should act around you. How they
Because
should
that's
talk
what's
and-
fun.
Like what?
Girl. So if we're getting down to the nitty gritty, there's a theme between her and Caitlyn with the emasculating of the men.
It is.
And being a man is a spectrum. It's not like masculinity does not look one way. And because we're women, it could be, and I think for men, the same applies. We can see things linearly. And that's just not fair. And it's just not being open. And I think that's the bigger issue I have here. Like, you don't know this person and you're so disgusted by the fact that it's a little awkward. Like, we all expect it to be.
You signed up for a show called Married at First Sight. Why are you I just don't understand how you can watch the show previous to being on it, go through the process, go through all of the casting and everything, and then be surprised that you're sitting in a room with a person who you don't know. Of course it's awkward. You married a fucking stranger. What are we talking about?
This is the other issue. When you allow these people to meet too early, they want to trauma bond too early.
Yeah.
And then negative energy begets negative energy.
Oh, yeah. Misery Loves Company plays out live on camera when these people get together.
And that's all that was. That was just one miserable asshole talking to another one.
Yeah.
Okay? That's just all it was. And it's so unfortunate because there's nobody there to say, knock it off.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Y'all don't know these guys. Relax. Let them show up in the world. You know what I mean? Also, everything don't got to feel the way you want it to feel.
Right. But also, everything isn't microwavable. You married somebody at first sight. You thought in week 2, y'all was just going to be
We're still in week 1,
bliss?
ain't we? Oh, we now in week 2 as
That's
we
what I'm
move on.
saying.
Right.
You thought you was going to be in like some type of it's just like ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
The mentality to sign up for something like this and then to come in with this popcorn mentality is just crazy. Like, you have to understand that, like, you are starting at ground zero with the safety net of commitment. The only thing you should know for sure is that this person is committed to me and this person is committing to being married, and then we build from there.
But when you date, the problem is the dating scene is more interview based, right? So everybody's trying to talk themselves out of love, not into it.
Right.
So every time you sit down and speak with somebody, they want you to run down your resume so they can say, that doesn't align.
It's a process of elimination.
It's a process of elimination. And that's all they're doing.
Yeah.
That's it. You know what I mean? All they're doing is saying process of elimination. Yeah. Unfortunately, this doesn't align with me. That doesn't align with me. I don't know how we could ever be compatible.
Right.
And that's really the bigger issue and why I want to do my speed dating thing, because that shit, we're going to get to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But do y'all even know how to vibe? And my goal might not even necessarily to match people, but to get people back to dating. Yeah. And just being in the presence of somebody from the opposite sex and being the vibe. A lot of y'all are good looking. I mean, it's a lot of baddies out here. And it's nothing else. Y'all can't talk the draws, laugh the draws off of nobody. Yeah. Just annoying. and bad as hell. You know what I mean? And it's like that gets tired, and we want to create an environment where we got people sticking around. Like if you're not being disrespected, but you align on most things, you may not align on everything. You align on most things. Why are we not continuing to talk to this person?
Right.
If that person makes you feel good, even though, okay, you know what, everything ain't aligning, but you feel good being around them, why would you not continue to be around them?
Yeah.
And I don't mean like feel good in like a lusty, I mean like your spirit feels relaxed when you're in the presence of these people. What are we doing?
Yeah.
But y'all got the answers. Maga and Dose Maga sit down and talk to Dr. Lisa Paz. She can't even tell you why she don't like the man.
Which is shocking.
She goes on an entire diatribe and don't finish one thought.
Yeah.
The Dr. Paz, please forgive me, is sitting there like, what is going on?
Right.
Are you not overthinking this? Why are we not taking this one thing at a time? Why is nobody saying that?
Because I'm not confident in Dr. Paz, number one. And number two, it's very clear to me from our conversation with Caitlin, she's not about to hold these women's feet to the fire at all. Caitlin just sat in front of her face and bullshitted to the utmost. And it was all accepted for some reason. Like no one checked her on the stupidity that was coming out of her mouth. It wasn't any like real relationship talk. It wasn't any like, you need to humble yourself. Like this is the process. Like you have to get to know this person. You need to slow down. You need to be around this person. You can't build a relationship where you're no longer like in each other's space. And Courtney is doing this a lot of the same thing.
It's weird because I do feel bad for him a bit because I feel like he's reading it as optimistic, and I still think it is. Like, let me be clear. Like, I think they can work and get somewhere together, and I honestly think they would be good together if she's not in their way. You know what I mean? Like she being Courtney would have to get out of their way in order for it to thrive. And I think she can. If I'm being honest, I think she can. And I think the more she goes through these sessions and sees that nobody's agreeing, like you're an adult. Yeah. Like, what are we talking about?
I don't see it for them. This couple is a dud. They're wasting both of each other's time to me.
I was being kind.
Nick is not somebody who she really...
and she's too hung up on him being on reality TV.
I think that's due to her attraction to him. I don't think she's super attracted to him. I think she wouldn't give a fuck less what show he was on if she was super attracted to him. And if he was super bro Rogan, like, you know, MAGA to the max, like if he was doing all that, I think she would be all about it. But I think she's completely checked out. She's just here at this point for the vibes. I think Nick is way too nice for her, way too demure, way too all of the things for her. And I think she's just going to continue to drag him under and belittle him until he finally just pulls the plug on it.
Marissa and Adam, they are humping. Okay. Yeah. They like each other a lot. And I like that they like each other. Do you think it's too much too soon?
No, I think that's what we're talking about when we say, like, go with the vibe, see what the vibe is. You know what I mean? And then respect that. Where's your chemistry really at? Which is not to say, like, let's match up our resumes. How do we just talk about the small things that lead to the big things? Like, let's just get to know each other on a basic level. Let's date. Let's have lighthearted conversation. And I think they're doing a good job of doing that. And it's causing their affection to grow for it.
Because they are having real conversation.
I don't
know if it's real conversation, but they're having conversations.
Yeah.
Which I like.
Yeah.
Just be talking to one another.
Which is all you need to do right now.
Right.
Guess what? You're already married.
Right. You'll eventually have them. He asked her something that I thought was really cute. He asked her, did she used to model? Which I thought was really cute because it's a testament to what he thinks she looks like. You know what I mean? How good she looks. And sometimes that's really good to hear. He says that he trained to be a good cuddler. She was like, you're a good cuddler. He was like, yeah, I trained for this. Yeah. And I was like, okay, like, I don't know. That's the way to do it, but she likes it. So I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they got good vibes. He bust out a whole pregnancy pillow and said, "I'd be cuddling with the pregnancy pillow."
Which is sad.
You know what I mean? But these they are alone.
Joe
They
threw my
are
pregnancy pillow out.
I could have burned it. They are alone, and I think this is what we're finding. Like a lot of these, specifically, I'm seeing with the men, they are lonely. They are not
Yeah.
just alone; they are lonely, and I think it's completely humbling, especially to the male ego. When you find somebody attractive, you find somebody who you want to be around, and all they got to tell you is how they strong and independent and don't want to be around you.
Adam is fascinating to me. Did you guys hear him say he wears socks in the pool? That's not a big deal to me, like it is to everybody else. He just likes to make sure he has traction, which he could just get water shoes, but cool, whatever works. But then he says, just in case I gotta like sprint or race somebody, I don't want to embarrass myself in front of all these women. And I thought, like that's something to be concerned about, or is that just like regular?
Everybody has their own kinks, you know.
Okay,
He a little
okay.
bit of a weirdo. We already know that.
He is a bit of a weirdo. She likes it. What I do like is that he doesn't drink, and she was concerned that there would be an issue, and I would be too. You know what I mean? But she said that, but she checks his drinks to make sure because they are on an all-inclusive resort, so it's not far-fetched. They just wouldn't batch something up and
Yeah.
give it to both of them. So her trying his drinks and everything, I feel like that is so intimate and kind. I don't know. He couldn't wait to get her home to his house so he could show her their goddamn jet ski,
I know.
which was kind of cute. I like when people
Yeah.
are excited about things. Like I also, although I would have remained unimpressed, and she did it the right way. She said, "Oh, I think I'm gonna stick to the boots." I like that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I did it. I don't
Yeah.
always have to do this.
But she's doing a good job of leaning in. You know what I mean? Like she sees he's excited and she's going with that. And I think it's adding to their chemistry.
Yes, and I like that because he's a little odd,
He is.
but she's doing a good job about tempering it, and I
Yeah.
love that. So I really don't have any other notes about them except for I'm excited to see where this goes. One thing he said that I thought was fascinating though. He asked her if you had to vote somebody off the island, who would it be? Because they were so concerned about seeing how other people
I
interact.
just want them to not even be interacting with each other because then this becomes a part of the conversation. And then it starts this faux sense of security. Like, oh, well,
We'll never be them. We'll never be that way.
we're so much farther along than
It's been a
than,
week.
Felipe and Tori, so we must be doing great. No, this don't have nothing. Felipe, what they got going on has nothing to do with what you have going on. So now other people who also just met yesterday become the measuring stick for your relationship,
Yeah.
and I think it's a bad recipe.
But for the sake of a game,
Yeah,
everybody best down and tell me who you're voting off the island right now. As a matter of fact, we're going to do this every time we come on here. This week, who are you like? I have to be done with them. You can think about it and reserve it for the end.
Honestly, I don't have to think about it. It's Courtney and Nick.
Mm,
It's between Courtney and Nick or Caitlyn and Devin because I really think that
I agree.
they're both wasting the
Each
other
other's
person's time. Yeah,
But no, it's not even each other. The women are wasting the man's time.
yeah, they're both wasting
Time.
these guys'
They're
time,
wasting
yeah.
time. I wouldn't argue with that at all. Let's move on to Mecca and Belle Jolie. This was such a fascinating couple episodes. First of all, love the matching outfits. Love it down. They get down with those outfits, okay? I really do love that.
But even that is just like a small thing to do that just adds to the vibe. You know what I mean? She said she wanted to do it. He leaned into it. And I think just even that little thing is a notch in his belt for her because that's something that obviously like makes them feel more like a couple. It appeases her. She's happy. Like those little things just kind of build the foundation to being in a real full blossoming relationship. It all starts with the details. And I think we can't overlook doing stuff like that for your spouse. That just don't have nothing it make her happy and add to the body. Let's do it.
Exactly. And I love that. And I love that there was no pushback. Mecca tells Belle Jolie that he feels like he's hanging with his best friend. Do you feel like I felt like he was saying it like it was a bad thing. Like he was trying to get it to feel more romantic, I guess. What are your thoughts about
I didn't take that as that. I took it as like he was surprised at how well it was going, right? Because to your point, about how like people make marriage like it's so tough and it's so hard and you got especially amongst men, you know what I mean? It's
especially amongst
the
men?
whole ball and chain idea, right? And he was like, "No, I kind of like being around my wife. I think it's cool." You know what I mean? I'm surprised at how like I view this more of a friendship. You know, I not even I view it more as a friendship, but like there's more of a friend vibe there than I expected, which is important. I think sometimes the connotation can be frowned upon, but like you should be friends with your spouse because that adds to it. Actually, is one of the things that tears down this dynamic, Caitlin, of like we need separate spaces and you need a separate life and you need to. I don't want my wife to have a separate life. This is my friend. This is my best friend. Right. So that's part of why I don't feel like, well, make sure you're not home when I get home because like who thinks like that about their best friend? Right. And so I think that it's important to have that friend dynamic, a part of that foundation. There has to be a brick of friendship there. It's so important.
I think it's so important
because otherwise you do start living life in silos.
And you sometimes you just want to like somebody. And sometimes life is hard and you're in the midst of a hard situation. And the only thing that's going to bring you back is that your body, your brain, how you vibrate remembers that you actually like this person.
You have to like them. It's imperative. When people say love is not enough,
it's not.
They aren't just talking about finances or regional where you live at. No, you have to like the person.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times
like who they are.
Yeah.
Like as a human being outside of you. Like
we've all loved somebody who we didn't like. And I'm talking about family members. I'm not even talking about relationships. You know what I mean?
Also true.
Obviously, but that's what I'm saying.
Also
like it's
true.
More like common to you know what I mean?
With
you have that family
members.
member where you like, listen, you know what I mean? Love the guy, but can't throw him far enough. Like,
right.
And that happens. And I think a lot of times when you get to that point and life is lifing, a lot of times it's not the love that's pulling you through. It's the like.
I agree. Now, I'm going to be honest. Although I thought they looked good, I was quite surprised because after seeing that jewelry on her neck.
Terrible. It's terrible.
I didn't think Belle Jolie was going to be able to hang with Mecca because Mecca got style now. It might be a little country too, but he still got style. You know what I mean? Somebody's style.
And they look good together.
Oh, I think they look very good together. And so did Felipe. He was like, they look hot. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I think so too. Yeah. I really, really do. Now, she now wants Mecca to be more openly affectionate with her, which is so fascinating because now she wants him to respect the vibe that she's giving. But at the altar, she didn't respect her own vibe, even though she knew she was very attracted to this man.
She literally threw down a barrier from day one, moment one, and then proceeded to have a conversation with him about not throwing down barriers and just doing and not asking and whoop. And then y'all don't be seeing how y'all be sending mixed messages to people?
No, because they have all the answers. I literally watched that conversation and I was confused. And as a man who's trying to respect your boundaries in a way that I believe Mecca is.
Which was set the minute I met you. Let's be clear. A lot of these things.
How about that?
That's why it's so important to treat the beginning stages a certain way because it can set the tone.
You got to respect the vibe.
It can set the tone for your entire relationship. The minute I meet you, we're in a tux and a gown. And the minister says, you may kiss your bride. And you're like, nope, right here. That's you're setting the physicality vibe from right there.
And we talking about grown people. And as a grown man, I would be like, I ain't asked you to stick your tongue in. I'm just saying, let's seal our union with a kiss.
Right.
You already decided to get married at first sight.
Right.
As someone so eloquently pointed out. Right. Max level 83. Why now do you have a boundary?
Right.
And I'm not saying a sexual boundary. I'm saying I'm just asking for a peck. I'm asking you to respect the vibe. Right. If you know, because when you saw me, one thing you knew for sure was that you was attracted to me.
Yep.
So you knew that you was like, all right, I'm excited about this process. Why wouldn't you show that you're excited in the moment?
Y'all out here kissing people
because y'all
for
wanna
less.
get.
In the club, outside of the let up, in the line.
But people get on TV and act like they ain't been doing more for less, and
I
it's
know,
really
I know.
it's really
Oh, I don't be
exhausting.
kissing people like that. Lies.
Okay, your mama, and you know I ain't even gonna do that. I ain't even gonna do what I was about to do. Okay, so Mecca has a thing where he says he's afraid that he's going to mess things up. They're constantly checking in, like, what do we need to work on? And I'm like, you don't have anything to work on right now.
Yeah.
Just get to know one another. Yeah. That's it. You just gotta.
And the thing is, they're kind of on the same wavelength as Marissa and Adam, and they can build on that and just keep this energy like this. Hey, we're in Cancun.
Yes.
Like we're obviously attracted to each other, and the particulars and all of the comparisons is going to ruin that.
How did you feel about Mecca pointing out that she may be more attracted to him?
That's what I mean. It's going to ruin that.
But he only did
This
that because
vibe.
you didn't respect the vibe in the moment.
Yeah, like,
if you would have just kissed him, it would have just been all right. But now he's thinking about every single last thing. He's second guessing everything.
And especially in the beginning stages, and we're going to get to this, certain conversations don't need to be had. You didn't need to tell Sean, I'm not really attracted to you. Like, if you believe that attraction can grow, Nikki, then let the attraction grow. If you believe that you like spending time with Beljolie Mecca, then just spend time with her. And then watch the attraction grow, watch the vibe grow, because all of these, you can't blame somebody for second guessing. They just met you. I don't have anything to go off of. So if in hour 2, you like, I'm not really feeling you like that, of course I'm going to be in my head. I'm only human.
Of course I'm
going to be in my head like, damn, so should I even try to touch her knees? Should I even hold her hand? Like,
she like, he not touching me enough. Like,
duh.
You set the tone for this, sweetheart. But that's why you're here. If we were confused, we now know. Right. But they had a real good conversation about how they were raised and how okay, so I appreciate that he tries to keep things light, but sometimes in an effort to keep things light, you're being avoidant.
Yes.
And I fear that he may be going in the avoidant direction. They're talking about how they were, or he's just trying to keep it light. Maybe I shouldn't put that on him. They talk about how they were raised. And she said the story about meeting her father at 20 years old and him immediately asking for a DNA test. Obviously, he was the father, and they never really spoke again after that. But every year she posted wherever you are, I love you, wooty wooty woot, which that told me a lot about her. And that actually made me sad as hell. Because, girl, stand the fuck up.
No, don't do it. That's her dad.
20 years? Yeah. You telling me in 20 years, and I'm not even, I can't.
Because this is a different dynamic, right?
I can't.
This is a different dynamic. She's not chasing her ex, right? So there is a void there in any situation. Like, listen, I don't care how old my dad gets, he's always going to be my daddy, right? And I think a lot of times the hardened shell of us tells us, well, we don't need that MFer. You know what I mean? I never met my dad. I don't need a fucking, no, you do. We all do.
No.
You know what I mean? So
I think that's right. I think
no
people need both parents. No matter how
old you get, you long for that. And sometimes now it's affecting you to the point where you're looking for it in relationship. You're looking for it. So you never stop looking for it. So the idea that you're not longing for it and searching for it in some way, shape, or form is false. We're all continuing to search for it. It might not be on Facebook. You understand what I'm saying?
I don't want to, the problem is, and I really want to be sensitive about what I mean by this, because I recognize this is a very sensitive subject. So I don't want to play too much. I think what I'm getting at is that I have young people in my life who were not raised by their father. And we're at the point now where they are going off to college and graduating college and doing all the things. And this is somebody, they know their father, the father know them, okay? And they don't have a relationship. And I make sure that they understand that you'll always want to have a relationship. That's natural. So don't get me wrong. But another part of you also has to understand that if that's not something that that person wants, you cannot force them.
Right.
And your mental health will be better if you don't try.
And that's easier said than done.
And that's
all I'm saying.
easier
It's just
said
easier
than done.
That's all I'm saying.
And by don't try, I mean like if they have disappointed you, you have to believe them. Yeah. You got to believe them. You know what I mean? That's who they are. If you want to continue to deal with them despite the disappointment, cool. But you have to do that knowing you will be disappointed.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. And the unfortunate part is those interactions create who we become. And I feel like her saying, for example, Mecca says the whole thing about her being more attracted to him than he is to her, which is crazy. Also childish as hell.
But also not worth saying. You don't need
It was never worth saying. It was
something else is going to fuck up the vibe. You don't need to talk about that.
Why are y'all so insistent on fucking up the vibe? But he says that, and her mind immediately goes to, well, I'm not chasing no man. You want to know why she's not chasing no man? Because she chased a man for 20 years.
But also, yes. Yes, and also, you're married to this man, Baljole. You're not chasing him. He's your husband. So it's like we don't have to get into.
And y'all are equally as cute. He is not no more cuter than you.
But we don't have to get. But this is the social media trope.
It shouldn't have been said.
She's a result of her culture because that is very much so in the zeitgeist of male-female relationships. I'm choosing me. I'm not. We see it on shows like Love Island. I'm choosing me. Right. You're all 20 and what did Casey say? And lustful.
And we all love.
What do you mean you're choosing? Everybody on Love Island is choosing them.
Right.
This is where do y'all think they got that stuff from?
Right.
They got it from the social media sour dating culture, toxic dating culture that they grew up in. So it's like this man eater. I'm not chasing this. I'm choosing me. Do all this. But you're married. Your man is there. You sit next to him on a honeymoon. What are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about?
It also introduces doubt. And it's like,
but the ego, my thing is,
it's ego.
I'm not chasing you thing is ego.
Period.
I think you're more into me than it's ego. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that this is all fed to a lot of times they are internalizing these things from the outside world and from the culture. And I think a lot of the Mars versus Venus stuff where men are missing women and women are missing men is ego driven. And I think this is at the core of it. A lot of it.
They could work.
I think so too.
I think that they really, really, really could work. He likes that she's, this driven, artistic human. And I love that. Mm-hmm. I love that. And I really think that they look good together and they've enjoyed being in a new place with one another. I think just let it grow. How about that? Just let it grow. Let's talk about Tori and Felipe, my favorite couple. So I've been trying to figure out why I think Felipe is handsome. And it's because he looks like Pete Davidson. Or he has a Pete Davidson aura.
Who also isn't handsome.
But he's got like a...
Yeah, some people got the Riz,
Yes. He got whatever it is, he got it. You know what I mean? And that's what Felipe has, if we're being honest. He had no expectations of sex. This was a very fascinating episode for a few episodes for them. They had such good conversation and in a way that I felt was respectful of one another and laid a foundation for differences being okay. Oftentimes, like I said before, we think the differences is a reason to count someone out, but they were just trying to find common ground despite the difference. And I appreciated that. And one of the bigger things that they spoke about was religion. He asked her straight up, are you religious? Like, what does that look like for you? And she says that she's Christian. She prays. She goes to church. She does the things. And I thought he was going to say he was Christian too.
I did too. He hit me with the left hook.
To my surprise, he's an atheist. Okay. She asked him, well, if we had children, and which I think this is all a big conversation. This is what I'm pointing out as large conversations, but also important. If we have children and I wanted to get them baptized, what are your thoughts? And he said, to me, it's just dipping the baby head in water. So it's not,
whatever.
Yeah, like whatever you want to do, I'm willing to allow you to take the lead on that. I love that.
I think it's necessary.
I love it.
But also, I don't even want to say necessary. I think it's mandatory. This is what you signed up for. You didn't pick these people. So also, you have to be open to your person being an atheist, being a monk, being Muslim, being of Hindu, being a Buddhist. Like, you didn't pick this person. So you have to be open to all things, Courtney. You have to be open to all things, Caitlin. You can't go into this process like, well, they can't be this and they can't be that and they can't be that. Then you should just stay at home and find your love interest in a bar like you've been doing, because it's been working so well for all of you.
They speak about him being a cheater. Now, he tells a story that he cheated, but don't remember that he cheated, told the girl after they broke up that he cheated. Whatever, you cheated. And that's just, and that's all. Like, it's not that deep. You know what I mean? We're adults. She was not upset with that piece. She understood that we're adults. What she asked, what I thought was a great question. And that was, is it difficult for you to be monogamous? Woo. These young women, it's nice to see some grown ladies on here. I thought that was on point. I think that that's a real question. Like, and he answered it in a way where he said that he hasn't been currently committed, obviously, because, you know, he was a young man out in the world dating, and that recently, and that this process he feels will make it easier for him because he's very committed to this. You know what I mean?
The commitment is there. He signed on a dotted line to marry a stranger. So the commitment is there.
And it already takes the guesswork out of it. Sometimes the fear of commitment is more crippling than the actual commitment.
Right.
Y'all don't want to commit to somebody not because y'all afraid of what they're going to do 10 years from now.
Right.
They talked about that, and I felt like the way that it was handled, she listened to him. I think that she didn't judge him. And I think that's also important, right? Oftentimes we're having these conversations. We're not listening to what people are saying out their mouths, and that's men and women.
Yeah.
We have to listen to one another, but I also think that it's in an attempt to judge them.
Yeah.
And they know that too. And that's why y'all get people who lie to y'all like they did.
Yes, I agree.
And that's because also they recognize early that you're interviewing them. If you just was around them vibing, they'll eventually tell you who they are.
I say this all the time. I think you can find out more about a person from just being in a relaxed environment, in a lighthearted environment, experiencing them, talking about, you know, sports, talking about food. You find more out about a person from there than hitting them with your questions that are listed in your notes in bulleted form. And I think a lot of y'all are taking the wrong approach because y'all think, like you said, I'm gonna cut through the fat. I'm gonna do process of elimination. I'm gonna get to know this person. That's not how you get to know people. That's not how you get to know. That's why companies have team outings. Because even in the corporate world, they know I'm never gonna know this person from interviewing them. I'm only gonna get to know them maybe 2 drinks in, at a lounge, at the bar down the street.
I really feel like they're having really hard conversations, and hard being big conversations, like things that like can count someone in or out of your life. But I feel like the way that they are handling it is really, really, it's making me optimistic about the rest of the season. I feel like we haven't experienced this level of adulting with Married at First Sight in maybe 3 or 4 seasons.
I agree.
Like it's just been not great picks. And I feel like recently, this group is a really good group. Yeah. Is what I'm getting at.
I agree.
He says, and I thought this was really talking about love bombing. He doesn't want to love bomb her. And I was like, oh, like he understands that he likes her a lot, but he doesn't want to like lay it on thick.
I think he is internalizing a lot of the social media tropes that have us in a headlock, right? The whole like I'm afraid to love bomb you, like that's just because he's been inundated by it. You know what I mean? And I see it in the same thing. Like I said, the conversation I had with somebody this past weekend, like he's internalizing it too because he heard it from the girl he was in a relationship with. But I'm sure he's also seeing it online, watching them the conversation on the podcast and all that, where they're he was love bombing him. He's being clean because he want to spend time with her and she's independent and he should accept that. And so then you internalize these things and you think, damn, I'm fucked up because I'm love bombing her. Like it's silly.
They had a conversation about her mother who was diagnosed with cancer the year before and how that affected her And though it wasn't that he not only asked her how it affected her, the way that he listened to her, I thought was really important as well. What I like about Felipe is that he listens more than he talks. Although to other people, he's such this
A big talker.
right.
Yeah.
I love that. And not in a way, he's conversational. Like he wants to
Yes.
get to know her. He wants to know more about her. Like I really, really do love that. And I think there may have been a time, maybe the first episode or so, he was like, nah. But I think the more you learn, you want to like somebody and you want to have a deeper connection with them, the more you listen.
But it's a red flag for me if you're in this process and you're not like, nah. You just met this person and now y'all married and you don't know anything the fuck about them.
Right. Why are we not just talking nonstop?
Y'all wouldn't just be talking nonstop. I don't understand how you could be a Courtney and be sitting poolside with this man who you know nothing about and you're mad at him because you don't feel like he's chatting you up enough and you don't have shit to say to him.
Period. Let's end this with Nikki and Sean. Me and Joe tried to film this yesterday and I was tired. Like Joe's tired today. I was tired. I was really more exhausted than I thought. And I got real rude and disrespectful. And Joe says, "What's going on? Are you tired?" It was actually hilarious because I thought in the moment, wait. At first I was going to say, "No, I'm not tired." And then I was like, I am actually exhausted right now. And thank you for seeing me because I'm not normally like that. So first I want to say, I'm sorry to my husband for being mean yesterday. I think one of the great things about Sean and Nikki is that they are having tough conversations. Yeah. And these tough conversations are introducing static to their environment and then they're overcoming that. That's an important thing to do.
Well, I think it's really a green flag. And it's complicated because I do think that it's great to just be in this honeymoon phase, right? I just talked about that with Marissa and Adam, right? And you're lovey-dovey and everything's going perfect and you live in that and that's great. But I also think that it's also important to figure out conflict resolution, right? And I think that's what's happening with Nikki and Sean. And I think it's good that it is happening early because what I see, and this is on these shows and in real life, is that couples are Marissa and Adam and they love each other. She's so fucking hot. Mm-hmm. He's so hot. They can do no wrong. We don't argue. We're so friendly, blah, 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 blah. They have one argument and they disintegrate. Mm-hmm. And I mean like one real argument after years and years of being together. We know couples who it's happened to, right? And I think part of that is you don't kind of get your lumps and you and figure out like, okay, she pissed me off, but how do I rectify that? How do I push through? How do I humble myself? Because conflict resolution is humbling, and I think that's why it's so hard for certain people. The biggest issue to me is I think it's humbling and ego doesn't. I'm not calling him first.
Right.
I'm not going to say sorry first, and then now it's dead.
A tough conversation is not the reason not to be with someone.
Right.
They're having tough conversations. They're not being like disrespectful or like crossing boundaries with one another. They're just trying to find each other through the static. And I appreciate that because I think so much of this, Sean is getting her coffee every morning. She says that he leads them spiritually and mentally. That's a real kind thing to say to someone. Mm-hmm. Now, last week we spoke about Nikki and how she may have been at the altar with Sean. And there was an Instagram post. Now, D. Michelle 5821, she sent us this comment. So someone who works heavily in editing mentioned that we did not actually see Nikki say that line, do I need to stay in here and wait for my husband? That it was a soundbite. One of those good old production tricks used to create a narrative. And I am inclined to believe that. And you know what, D? I am too. I'm starting to think that they want to cut Nikki in a way that is more rigid than she actually is.
I agree. I think we say this almost every season, but I think it's imperative to say this is a reality TV. Air quotes for reality for anybody who's not watching us on YouTube. But yet and still it has to have structure. So there's hours and hours of editing that goes into this, but they still have to create storylines and they have to create lanes and themes, right? And so everybody has a theme. Everybody has a storyline. That's how the show is marketed. That's how they give you when you get these flashes at the end of every episode, they're all on paper, they're written out as like storylines. There's a blueprint to that, right? And so I think that good, bad, or indifferent, everybody has one, right?
Yeah.
Like Felipe has the motor mouth social, you know what I mean? Nick has the reality thing. That's a storyline. We're going to see that come up a lot, right? Now, that's not to say that Nick and Courtney are constantly talking about Nick being on a reality show. Do I believe that that's their conversation, the little that they do have? No, but I do believe that that's Nick's storyline, so we're going to see it a lot, right? And so I
Yeah.
think that with Nikki, it's a little bit of her story until we get to the point where we can see these people sit down and transparently, and we've seen it happen. Transparently tell us, y'all, that's all they showed of y'all, but that wasn't our. You know what I mean?
Right.
We have to. You're not wrong to question it. The same way I think that I don't think judging off of Nikki's interaction with Sean and her speech and how she's very transparent and very communicative. I don't think that Sean is constantly overdriving the sex stuff with her, right? I think that's a part of his storyline, and I think we see it every episode, every other 5 minutes. It seems
Yeah.
like Sean is saying something sexual when. Just judging by how Nikki moves, I don't believe that that's the 90% of their day, but I do believe that it's going to be a part of their storyline.
Right. I am excited that they're flirting. She said she was a sapiosexual. I'm starting to believe her. Okay. Sean is not a bad looking guy. I went and looked him up. And he ain't bad looking. He just little. You know what I mean? And for some people that's too much. But I think that for them, it could give, Kirk Franklin and his wife. I appreciate how they have conversations and their want to resolve things. It's very clear to me that Nikki understands where she may have went wrong and other. It's so clear to me, just based on how she's navigating the arguments, that she has no issue with conflict resolution. Things come up, I want to talk about it, I want to move on. She says one of their first arguments, okay, because every other scene, they had us on every other scene they was arguing, okay? She says that he asked her, how have you changed in relationship? Like what has changed you in experiencing other people? And she gave a very general example where she says that she is a very neat person. Normally she would judge people who aren't neat. She's learning that she has to communicate about those things. And it's not an indictment on them, and she doesn't have to throw them away or discard them because they don't do things the way she does. That was not a good enough answer for Sean. Sean was like, but that's not what I asked you. My thing with Sean is that I understand where he's going, but the way he says things, I find uncomfortable, if I'm being honest. And I think that and Joe, when we were talking about this yesterday, said something that I want to say and want you to say again. But you were speaking about how people who are intellectuals speak to other people.
Yeah, he can be curt and very direct, especially individuals like Sean and Nikki who work in a certain profession. I think that that's not foreign. I think that part of the issue with both of them is like they are good communicators and they are also trying to find a resolution, but in their own ways. And they have to learn each other's language.
Right. They're good communicators in a silo.
Yes.
They have to learn to communicate with each other.
Yes. Because Sean wouldn't be the first person, Nikki wouldn't either, that comes from a certain background as far as professionally, carries a certain level of intellect, but is off-putting to certain people in the way that they conflict resolve.
Joe said I used to do that to him.
She did.
That's the part he didn't want to say.
Yeah. I mean, it is.
You can say that though.
Well, this is something that we worked through in therapy.
Yeah, we did.
You know what I mean? Where I had to be like, when we were conflict resolving, like you can't talk to me like that, right? And through therapy, I learned that it wasn't of malice. It was Zar, because Zar said to me, well, this is how I talk. Like, you know what I mean? When I'm at work, I do the same thing. And I was like, well, you're not at work. You know what I mean? The same thing is happening here, right? But this is something that is worked through through time, and that's what I was saying in the beginning about it being positive that you tackle these issues, because I think our ability to tackle those issues early made it a lot easier to deal with conflict and understand how to speak to each other and treat each other in a way that allowed us to work through issues where in the past we would have got tripped up on just styles.
Tone.
Yeah.
And, I got that in my romantic life, that critique often, if I'm being honest. But I also got it in my friendship life. Like, I feel like I tell Jazz all the time, like, she has made me a better friend because I would talk to my girlfriends.
Yeah.
I can be like, I could give like, are you dumb? Like, that was stupid as hell. Like,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
And I think part of that is not there's I don't think there's any malice in that.
Yeah.
Right. I knew it wasn't, especially after conversation.
But that doesn't negate how you feel.
Right. And I think, but it takes more conversation and understanding for Nikki to even get there, because I can see how that can be perceived as like I don't like how you're talking to me.
Period.
Right? Yeah.
You're a stranger. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Which I appreciate her allowing him space and grace to get there with her.
Yeah,
You
I
know
do
what I
too.
mean? Because some people will write that off.
Yeah, and
we
it takes
can't
work.
talk.
It
I'm
takes
done.
work.
It takes work.
Yeah,
it really does.
work.
And it takes work with anybody. He kills the mood.
Yeah, but
He kills it.
No, he absolutely does. And that is also a thing that I worry about with them both being highly intellectual. Sometimes a basic conversation can become a small battle. And you're like,
We did it yesterday.
what is happening here? Like, this is not even supposed to be like that, but it's like she's trying to get her point across, he's trying to get her part across, and then like a lot of times you can see frustration from somebody feeling like this person isn't speaking clearly and directly, right? And so that sounds dumb. I'm asking you this question. You haven't answered it in a way that I expect you to answer the question, right? And so that can cause a butting of the head too. So I think that a lot of that is what we're seeing.
She says the way Nikki describes things, I find to be so. I'm like, I'm not proud of her. It's more like I'm wildly impressed, and not because just as a person in the world. Like, I'm like, this is how I expect people to navigate things. She says something about how he spoke to her that I thought was absolutely spot on. Sometimes you speak to me from your head when I need you to speak to me from your heart.
Right.
Who don't understand that?
Absolutely.
I genuinely believe she's in this process to have her life changed. I really, really do. And life changed in terms of partnership and having companionship with someone else. I genuinely believe that's why she's here.
Right.
And I believe that's why he's here. Because he keeps coming back to the table too. And I think that matters.
And because I think part of it is he doesn't disagree with her. Right? He doesn't disagree that he's doing what he's known to do in his own life and his professional life, and that's not going to work in marriage. Just like we talked about, like things that we had to work through, right? Like this is how you do. You're results based. You're just trying to get to the end of the problem, but you also need to talk to me like I'm your husband, right? I am not your coworker. You do have to lead with love, and that's what Nikki was saying.
That's what she was saying. Sometimes it's hard though. I have been working on talking to people like they're stupid.
And I think it's hard.
I've been working on it.
Particularly when you've been doing one thing your whole life one way, and then boom, now it's time to change it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That anybody who's been doing something for 20 something years, it's going to be difficult to have a change in mentality.
I completely agree. Another argument they had, this is like one of four. BT dubs. Yeah. Another argument they had.
Which is weird because within these moments, they are having nice moments.
Yes.
It's like
he's killing the vibe. Yeah. It's almost like
they're having nice moments and then something happens and they miss each other.
I need to know what his sign is.
They have another nice moment and then something happens and they miss each other again. But they are having nice moments.
They are. They have a conversation about sex. And Nikki chose to take sex off the table. He felt like that wasn't a conversation that they had together. She made a unilateral decision, and he didn't love that. And so he said that on the diary cam. Their diary cam ended up being an hour long. What are your thoughts?
I understood it. I think that with all things marriage and relationship, it requires transparency and communication, right? Now, the level of communication, how much you have to weigh somebody else's opinion can vary, but I do think that your spouse is due communication for any and all things.
Although I agree your spouse is due communication for any and all things. And I could even go with you that maybe she should have, she says that she had this conversation with him, but maybe she should have had a clearer conversation with him about what she wanted to do as far as their physical relationship. I didn't see anything wrong with what she did. I feel like, one, you're right. They could be clipping the sexual conversations or whatever the case may be. I don't want to, that's not lost on me. And it's still too many references to sex for me. I think you can be flirty without being sexual.
Yeah.
I do it all the time. I don't think that I think there's a million ways to let somebody know that you find them attractive, whatever the case may be, without it being overtly sexual or we making any reference to a sexual topic.
Right.
It is off-putting to me.
Yeah. It's off-putting to me too.
So I think, although I do believe in cinema magic and everything like that and production magic, I also believe that it's too much. It's a little too much. And her taking it off the table makes sense to me because I'm not giving you got too much dip on your chip. You know what I mean? Let's slow this down because now I'm not even sure what you were here for.
I don't even think she needed a reason, right? I don't think that you need a reason to take it off the table or to put it on the table or to curtail it, however you want to curtail it.
Right.
2 weeks, 2 months. And I don't think I, as a viewer, am owed a reason.
Period.
I think your husband or your wife is due a conversation.
I agree with that.
I do think that you can do whatever you want to do.
But it does. You don't want it to be weaponized either.
Not only that, but you can do whatever you want to do. It does not release you from the consequences of your actions, right? You can make unilateral decisions in your relationship about sex, about money, about real estate, about all the things. You can do it. Is it going to make for a long-lasting, healthy relationship? Absolutely. Category no. Absolutely not. You're going to cause resentment. Somebody's going to jump to their own conclusion due to lack of communication, connecting dots on their own, building. I mean, we've done it. I've gone through therapy sessions where I realized that I caused an issue just simply because I didn't voice something. So then it led to my wife making the conclusion on her own because I didn't address this. I had the option and the right to do it, but did it help my relationship? Nope. So part of being humble, when I talk about being humble in marriage, is like everything that you can do and everything that you have the autonomy to do is not something that you should do or should lean into for the health of your marriage. And I think anytime you do make decisions that are unilateral, regardless of what it is, even in such a sensitive topic as sexual autonomy, the lack of communication and transparency more often than not leads to a rough patch in your relationship.
Sean is just really fascinating to me. Like really, really fascinating. He says something that I didn't really love. I understood exactly what he was saying. He says that they keep having these kind of conflicting moments because they're two sons. And I don't necessarily believe that somebody has to be the sun and somebody has to be the moon. You know what I mean? Or we can't coexist in our solar system, in our universe as two suns. You create it to be whatever you want it to be. So she shouldn't have to dim any part of her, nor should you, in order for you all to coexist.
Right. No, but it could be the reason why there's more friction caused because those pieces don't naturally fit into place, which means that to me, you can't fix a problem that you don't acknowledge. So I kind of agree with the analogy because I do think that to me, it just was saying we're two big personalities, we're two big brains.
That's exactly
and
what he
that's
said.
going to cause this. And I agree. And I also think that it's going to call for a little extra patience and a little extra attention to figuring out our communication styles and figuring out what works for us to help us put the pieces to the puzzle together. Because sometimes with two big personalities,
It takes a little bit more.
yeah,
And a large part of that is trust.
yeah, and
I think
ego.
that and ego, but I think for a woman, it's trust. Like a man will lead you to hell. They'll lead you to the desert, leave you there with no water. So you have to know that you're in the presence of somebody who cares for you, who wants the best for you, who wants to see you do well. And a lot of times we're not acquiescing because those traits are not visible yet.
And this process specifically, they won't be. You marry blindly.
But
So now you
but
have to
to your
blindly
point,
trust somebody.
and that's what I'm saying. And to your point, that can add the friction that
Yeah.
we're speaking about, because I think she wants to be in a place where she can do that. She said that I'm delicate. I want you to handle me delicately. So I believe she does not want to be operating at this level all the time, but you have to, that takes time to get there. And if I'm
Yeah.
being honest,
Yeah.
all of these couples are going to experience this.
100%.
They're just experiencing it sooner because they are more realized human beings
Yes.
than those other people.
And they're older. They're probably the oldest couple here.
And I think they are.
And
that matters too.
That makes it more difficult because what I was speaking to is being set in your ways.
Yes.
No one is more set in your ways than an OG with with a full gray beard.
Right.
Right. It's harder the older we get, it's harder to unlearn a lot of the habits that we've had for years and years and years and years. So it's just going to be harder for an older couple who's more established and more stuck in their ways to now adjust and figure out, okay, how can we make this fit and make this work for the both of us? And that's going to take some adapting to new styles. And that's what's difficult.
Now, Nikki has been kissing on this man and everything. They get into another argument because she lets him know that did she tell him she's not that attracted to him?
Yeah.
Because he asked her. She did not volunteer this information. He asked her, was it like an attraction thing? And then she says, well, I'm not like, that's not on the forefront of my mind kind of thing. She basically says that she's not attracted to this man traditionally, but that doesn't mean that she's not open to it growing or that she doesn't believe. She caveats it. He immediately is annoyed. Like, what do you mean? You was just tonguing me down. Or like, you've been kissing on me and all this stuff like that. Like, how could you not be attracted to me? What are your thoughts about that stance?
I think it was both individuals were saying things that didn't need to be said. It doesn't matter. The same thing with Mecca and Jolie, and Belle Jolie, and like, we just got here. We don't need to be stamping a flag about where we are, especially if we're open to things growing, right? So there's a way to say it and be honest, right? Because also we're human. So it's only natural for somebody who just met somebody else to be told, I don't find you attractive, for them to then be all up in their ego, be all up in their feelings,
Facts.
be second guessing. Everyone's going to do it. That's a human thing. This is why they don't need to hear it, because 9 out of 10 people can't handle it.
So he goes,
And it fucks up the vibe, which
he did
primed.
again.
Respect the vibe. We don't need to start. We don't need to go there.
He then tells her he don't want. She says, he was like, well, then what do you kiss me for? She said, I'm like going with the flow. Like, you know what I mean? If we're having an affectionate moment, I'm going to be affectionate. Like, it's not that I want to like jump your bones. And she said something that I thought was on point. You haven't even done anything yet. That's why sex should not be on the table. We got married. We're on a honeymoon. You yourself have done nothing to show me that we should even be screwing now. How at 48 years old don't you know that?
It's ego. I don't think that he's lost on it. I just think his ego was hurt when he found out she's not attracted to me. You know what I mean? And so this is acting out to me. You know what I mean? People get upset, then they start gaslighting. And we saw it in another season. I don't know if it was last season, but the young man, it was basically the same thing where they had been physical, they had been kissing, they've been kissing in the pool, and then they had a because we have to ask the question. Somebody asked, "Well, how attractive do you feel like you are?" He said, "I'm not really, you're not my type thing." And then it was like, "Well, how I'm not your type? That's not what you said last night." That's ego. That's ego. But that's also why we shouldn't be having this conversation here, because a lot of y'all don't have the heart or the brain to have these conversations and then leave the vicinity and go eat dinner together. Because everybody's feelings is hurt. It's happening on live television. So now the world knows that this person is not attracted to me when I think that I'm an attractive person. I think that I'm a catch.
I think that Sean thinks very highly of himself. And I think that he's offended if you don't have the same affirmation, you don't affirm that. And when you're dating a woman who is as fully realized as Nikki, you just being you ain't the motion. You know what I mean? Like it's like you just right here showing up right now in the moment. You ain't saving me from nothing. It's nothing for me to be like excited, impressed. Nothing, right? You're not even trying to curate a vibe in no way. In fact, you're trying to do the opposite. I feel like the way that he speaks, I want to give him grace and I don't want to put too much on him, too much dip on his chip. But the way he speaks to her sometimes as a woman that he don't know and that he wants to be affectionate with him, it's like he's losing the plot.
I don't think he's losing the plot. I think he wants to be married. He wants to make this relationship work. I think that he's going to his default, and his default is, well, what do you mean by that? Like you didn't answer the question, right? That's a knee jerk reaction to just doing something that you always.
He told her, "Well, don't kiss me in the mouth if it ain't because you like." As if he doesn't understand, he got married at first sight too.
That's ego, and I think a lot of times the ego overshadows the intelligence. Right.
Oh,
my feelings are hurt now. I was feeling you. We shouldn't be talking about this because the vibes were obviously immaculate. So now they're going left because you were. I didn't sense that you weren't attracted to me because you were so in the vibe. Right.
Which is the point.
But that's why these conversations don't need to be happening. Right. Because guess what? Belle Jolie didn't feel that it was a 60-40 attractive thing. Which is why it threw her off.
Now she in her brain. She counting every time she say something to me.
This is my point.
The other part of it is that Sean says something that I think is natural, right? A man wants to feel like his wife is obsessed with him. I get that. You know what I mean? That's something I had to work on as well. Because I was obsessed. I just wasn't going to show. My ego wouldn't allow me to show it. You know what I mean? But it wasn't that the feeling wasn't there. It's just that I am just not that type of person, right? So, or now I am, and maybe I had to unlock that. I understand what Sean is saying, but back to my point where you have not done anything for her to be obsessed with. And if the obsession is only physical, it can also be fleeting. And I think that's my problem with the conversations around physical anything with him, is that there is this obsession from his end with it.
I think it's more. It sounds like more of the popcorn, microwavable thing where we get into these relationships and we want them to be booming with passion,
right?
Especially because we lack that, right? Sean also strikes me at, well, he doesn't strike me. He said this. He was another one who came into the process. They say, "Why do you want to do this?" He said, "I'm lonely. I'm doing all these things. I've been great. I've had so much success, but I don't have anybody to share it with." Right. And so then we want to.
And he told Nikki that as well.
And we want to immediately feel that. We immediately want to feel the void. Like, you know what I mean? And it's even more of a mind fuck when in the space, physically and vibe wise, you feel like it's happening. And then you get the verbal confirmation that it's not really there. It can't possibly be there. And you know that, especially somebody who's intelligent as him, it can't possibly be there. But you want it. A lot of times we see what we want to see. You want it so bad that you've almost convinced yourself that we're here and this is where we're going. And she is obsessed with me. And it hurts to hear the truth about it. You know what I mean?
Which is why I shouldn't even have been in conversation.
Which is why I shouldn't have been in a conversation in the first place.
The other thing that they had a conversation, which I thought was a very good scene, they spoke about why they were both single. And she spoke to she being Nikki speaks to her relationship. She was in a relationship for 10 years when she was a younger woman. That lasted from 17 to about 27. And when it came to them talking about what their life was going to look like, she was made to feel like she thought too big for him. And she didn't make it as if he was small. She made it as if she had to be small to be with him. You know what I mean? And because oftentimes people do it the other way around. So I want to point that out. How she spoke about it, I thought she did with care, because I could tell she was still hurt by the fact that you spent that much time with a human only to feel like we want completely different things. What did you think about her sharing that?
I thought it was part of the transparency that I think is necessary when y'all are talking about these things. And I think that this is the conversations that move the couples to be closer with each other, understanding how this person ticks, understanding, because also one of the things that I learned through our therapy session and breaking down the barriers of some things that were a block for us, which they our therapists really laid this out in a great way that never left me, was once you see behind the curtain and you understand better, even that thing that annoyed you, you have a more understanding for, right? And so that's why these conversations are so important to have, and not just talking about nothing. That's why I was saying the Marissa and Adam thing, as a balance to it. You can't just talk about nothing and just vibe on air. Because also when they do something that might piss you off, that might upset you, that might hurt you, you have zero understanding for it, which means that you have no patience about it. You have no it's like it starts the beginning of a war, right? Because there's no empathy there. And that only comes through conversations and transparency like this.
And it makes you understand why it's so important for her to be with somebody who makes a certain amount of money and does certain things, because she doesn't want to say things and then somebody else want to make it smaller. You want to be able to dream at a level, or be with somebody and dream so big that they take it to another level. Like, no, you really need to be thinking about, you said $1 billion, I'm saying $1 trillion. You know what I mean? You want somebody to hold you down in that regard. And I can understand how once you experience certain things, because you're in a certain tax bracket and everything like that, it's hard to go back. And it's hard to sometimes have conversations with people who haven't experienced it.
And it's hard to go forward if it's obviously still, like you said, it's obviously still affecting her.
Right.
So now it's going to be, but it's important for Sean and whoever her spouse is to understand that this is a trigger for her, that this is going to motivate how she moves and how she sees things.
Right.
Right. Same thing when we talked about Mecca dealing with whatever he was dealing with. Like, we can't pretend like this isn't going to affect how he treats his wife. If he has abandonment issues from his mom and his aunt or whatever, it's going to show up.
I think another big thing I want to call up, we can put Nikki and Sean to rest for now, because I think they're going to be fine. That's my.
I think they can be.
I think they can be if they want to be.
They both. The encouraging thing, even though they was really dragging us through the mud, giving us this Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Bullshit, is that they both seem like they're trying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they have these unsettling conversations and disagreements, but then they like come back together and they make it very clear to, like,
she told him, take your shoes and get out the room, and he said, I'm not doing that, it's ridiculous.
Because it was ridiculous.
And you know what she probably said in her mind? Okay, I'm going to be.
It was absolutely ridiculous. And then we see, just like we talked about before, we see great people and we wonder why they on these shows. And in that moment, I thought, this is why Nikki is here. Like, completely over the top, uncalled for. Like, want at the baseline, we talked about this early in the show, commitment.
Yes.
At the baseline,
and that's what they have.
But that's why I saw the crack in the armor. Like, you telling this man to pack his shit and go?
Yeah.
And he's showing commitment, because instead of packing his shit and go, he said, no, that's stupid. I'm gonna go sleep on the couch. You know what I mean? So it's like, now we starting to see, the longer we get to know these people, we starting to see exactly why they're on Married at First Sight.
Which I'm so glad you said that, because I want to go back to Tori and Felipe really quick, because I don't think I touched on this. They had sex. And after they had sex, Tori is so worked up by the fact that she made the decision to have sex with Felipe that she removed herself from the situation.
Tori is revealing why she's here.
And it made me a little sad because we didn't get to see the aftermath of that.
Right.
And how that affected him as well.
Right.
I truly believe it's your body, your choice. If you don't want to have sex with that man, don't have sex with that man. If your body felt called to have sex with that man, have sex with that man. She did not give any insight except for that's just not where she thought it should be going at the time. But is that your head speaking or your heart speaking? Like, because sometimes the wires could be crossed there. And I think in the next episode, I will want to know a little bit more about why it's not such a big deal. Having sex is a big deal. But you're with your husband and you felt called in the moment to do that. Why afterwards are you having a little anxiety
that's a red
about
flag.
it?
That's problematic. And that was a commitment thing to me. You so
Right.
used to dipping low and spreading it wide in the real world and then leaving.
You
Right?
think?
Absolutely. That's all that told me. You're so used to doing this in the real world and then packing your shit and leaving that when you got into the marriage that you signed up for, where you do copulate, and now you can't grab your shit and leave, that it's making your skin crawl. I mean, she all but said, like, after we was done, like,
She said, I felt like I was suffocating.
girl, what?
So
That's a problem, and you're right. That needs to be uncovered in a session with Paul, not Dr. Paz. Because we know we're not going to get no fucking where if Dr. Paz do it. It needs to
we
be.
just got to give her some time.
It needs to
bloom.
be. It needs to be unpacked with Paul because that is severely problematic.
Or is it, and you guys let us know in the comments what you think, or is it that she had an idea of how she was going to interact with this man on TV before she ever signed on for the show, before she met this man, and she told herself, I'm not going to sleep with this man until whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. She had already made that, and she's more disappointed in herself for falling into his lap so early.
I think to me that this was more about the fact that she couldn't then up and leave. Now you're married.
Well, y'all must stay on and let us know what y'all think. We have to go. We done sat here and chatted with y'all, okay? I done did everything but cook. Y'all know how it is. You hang at somebody's house, now I got to go fry some goddamn chicken. So I'm your girl, Intisar Eleanor. Do us a favor, buzz down, like, subscribe, hype this video up, okay? And comment. I'm doing Always by my beautiful husband, Zar Conner. And you were just on the Conner's couch. Bye.